Finally, the moment a couple of you have been waiting for.
It's all like bing bong, Jack.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Duval and St. Johns County. The show for Jag fans by Jag fans.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
Here are your hosts, Franklin and Michael how you say it? DeZoba. Welcome to the Jaggernaut Podcast.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, want to welcome you back to another Jaggernaut Podcast. Mike, as always, got my brother Franklin with me. Franklin, who we're repping.
Duval.
Damn right.
That was a bad
All
Duval.
right.
I don't know where that came
So Saturday night, man, it was our last preseason game. The preseason is over. It's over, Rock. So we got 2 weeks until the regular season starts, and we actually get some good action. Right? What do you think about the game?
So, Miami's a good team, and they played their starters from as much as I can tell. So I thought we fared well. We moved the ball. They moved the ball on us early on, so that's a problem.
So they had a few chunk plays, but they didn't really move the ball on us a ton. They had chunk plays, and I'll say that one was pass, one was run. But outside of that, it wasn't consistent. I think the difference is we basically twice took the ball and marched it methodically down the field. And had Tank Bigsby not scored on that first drive, or not fumbled on that first drive, we would have scored on two back-to-back methodic drives.
Right.
The Dolphins would hit something, then sputter, then punt, then hit something, then sputter, or sputter. So to me, this game had a lot of positives in it for the Jaguars.
Well, I think too the way the defenses work nowadays, that's the mark of a good defense. I'm not saying we've got one or that this is an indicator of it, but good defenses don't exist like they used to. You just don't have teams that shut other teams down. It just doesn't. The rules just play to the offense. So usually, if the offense can get and establish some kind of rhythm, and isn't shooting itself in the foot, they can move the ball, and the defense picks its spots to try to exploit mismatches and get a turnover, stop them on a third down somehow with a sort of an exotic blitz, as it catches them off guard. That's basically the way it that's what defenses do. So in that respect, we did that. We play, and they're a potent offense too. If you think about it, other than running back.
Now Jalen Waddle did not play.
Okay.
So it was really just Tyreek Hill, and he had that one real big chunk play, but that was it.
Yeah, and that's a missed assignment. It's so easy to catch. It's not like I never have understood this. Like, you watch these teams and you're like, if there's one guy you got to stop or double cover or whatever, let's say Travis Kelce from the Chiefs, and you see times when they're just wide open. It's like, how is that possible in the realm of understanding who that player is? So I think just the fact that it's preseason, maybe I'm kind of chalking it up to that. Maybe they got the wrong formation, wrong assignment. Somebody thought, I thought you had, but we've seen that a lot with the Jags in the past. So we don't.
Does it bother you that we still don't seem to have a decent pass rush from our ones?
I don't know.
I was watching Trevon Walker, and it's still Bull Rush City. The guy still can't bend the corner. Now, I don't know if he's saving it, but based off of the entire year last year, I don't think he is.
Here's something that I've come to think. So, couple things. The scheme that we are running is not a scheme that's indicative. That's going to. Remember, we're running a 3-4, and we're treating Trayvon and Josh like they're 4-3 ends, like they're just bookend rushing all the time. You complain when you see Josh and Trayvon drop, that's the nature of a linebacker. I mean, and when you have a 3-4, that's what you're going to do. You're going to drop a lot. So the point I'm kind of making on that, and it dovetails into the broader point of sacks as opposed to the technique that you talked about, which is still an issue. I do agree with that. But it's hard to judge these guys. In other words, when you say, oh, Josh Allen only had, what did he have, 6 sacks, 6.5 or something last year. But then he's dropping back 30% of the time. So you're taking 30% of his opportunities away from him. And a lot of times these defensive ends have to set these guys up for the moves. And I think there's something to be said for that. Also, I think the pressure that we're going to see for our defense is going to come also from the interior. And what I mean by that is blitzing up the middle. I bet we're going to see a lot of that this year. We're going to have probably Devin Lloyd, Foye at times, just blitzing up the center, trying to get right in the quarterback's face and make them move off the spot. But yeah, your point's a good one. I mean, yeah, I'd love to see some sort. I've never seen a spin move. I don't think. At least I can't think of a spin move. He basically, he does a karate chop every now and again. But pretty much, yeah, it's just the bull rush, and he's a powerful guy, and that sets up other things. But you'd really like to go, okay, now that you've set it up for the past year,
why don't you knock him down?
Yeah, why don't you try something else off of it, but hopefully that'll come.
And that bothers me. I don't think off of our ends we're going to get very much pressure this year. If it's just 4 straight up, I don't think we're doing it. Now, I will say that I have noticed over the course of last year and this year, do you remember I want to say early 90s, probably late 90s now. Yeah, probably late 90s. The Steelers ran their zone blitz scheme. I'm trying to think. Don Capers. Was it Don Capers?
Yeah.
Is that the guy? We run something fairly similar to their zone blitz scheme. So, I mean, in that regard, I guess you're right. We do take away 30% of their attempted tries at sacking the quarterback. Hopefully they'll get more tries, because teams would be forced to pass on us a lot more, so hopefully our coverage holds up.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well,
I don't.
I think 3-4, that is almost zone blitzing, in its nature. It's part of the scheme almost,
Well, the 3-4 itself, is designed to sort of take away the pass.
Right.
In the way that it is built and structured, you essentially try to use your linebackers to sort of cover certain gaps. So that's like, you'll cover the gaps on the right-hand side and try to blitz somewhere from the left-hand side to sort of speed up his rotation, the quarterback, so that he can't go deep on you. Because, there's only so many areas you can cover.
Right.
So that's really sort of what it's designed to do. It's a defense that is designed for the passing game. So I guess it sort of makes sense that we're running it. Maybe we're just not running it well.
It's hard to say. Like I said, I don't know that you can expect the best sack totals from outside linebackers in a 3-4 defense. And maybe, of course I say that. I mean, didn't Lawrence Taylor blitz outside linebacker in a 3-4? So I don't know. I mean, I think it's a totally different game now. And here's the other thing too. I used to think 3-4. The benefit was you had these guys that didn't quite fit the mold of the typical 4-3 defensive end. They definitely weren't a tackle, but they're not big enough for. They're fast, they're twitchy, but they're not big enough for a 4-3 defense, a 4-3 defensive end, and so they were the tweeners, right?
Okay.
They had all these guys in the draft, and these 3-4 teams. At one point in time, it was like most of the league ran 4-3, and there was like a handful that ran 3-4, and they got the tweeners. They would grab these guys that were undersized for 4-3 defensive ends and put them at the outside linebacker positions. And yet what we're doing is we've got guys that you would think of as classic 4-3 defensive ends, and we've got them on the outside as outside linebackers.
Yeah, so what you're trying to say is we're trying to take a square peg and put it in a round hole.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Trayvon and Josh are very quick, twitchy type guys.
And that's just it. I think Caldwell may come out to be a liability. If you cannot look at your team and say, these guys are a 4-3. That's what these guys are built for. That's what we need to play. Then you're not playing to your strengths. And if you're not playing to your strengths, you're a shit coach and an even worse defensive coordinator. I mean, that's really what it is, right?
Yes, but I don't know that that's Caldwell. I mean, I'm not willing to say that at this point. I think the defense turned a corner last year.
The defense can play well. All I'm saying is that from our starters, from the preseason, we've seen very much the same thing. They cannot get to the quarterback, and we need to get to the quarterback. Balky didn't really address it in the draft. Caldwell has done nothing, what seems like nothing. Now, granted, you don't game plan. Maybe they're holding all their aces, but it would sure be nice if you could see one or two here or there to know that we can do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's all I'm asking for. And you just got up here and said we basically have 4-3 talent, but we're running a 3-4.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Don't hand me chicken shit and tell me it's chicken salad. The NFL loves to do that. Don't get me wrong. The Jags aren't the only team doing that. But I can't stand that crap. Anyway, what about the offense? What do you think about the offense? Anything good?
Yeah. I mean, I think Trevor was very efficient. I think the running back squad has done what it has been doing, which is, the offense looks very good. I did, I liked the play that Trevor had to Ridley, the sort of timing drop out to the outside toward the end zone, where it was called incomplete and he had the guy in his face. I do think I like it just as much as anybody else does. Other than I'm kind of like, well, maybe he should. I would prefer if he just hit the flat, because he shouldn't be taking shots like that in a preseason game to make a highlight. I guess it's on the one hand, you like the quarterback that does that because he stresses the defense and he wants to take shots, but sometimes they just give it to you and you should take it.
Yeah. See, and I thought when he hiked the ball, he saw Ridley one-on-one. He knew what Ridley's route was, so he hung in there a little bit longer and dropped it to him. I thought the pass was sort of iffy. But Ridley, that's what a number one does. You catch that damn ball, you keep your feet in bounds. And same pass to, I think it was Christian Kirk a little earlier in the game on the other side of the field, but it was dropped.
Yeah.
If Trevor would have threw that right, he had a touchdown there. He had to drop it over the top, not behind him. So again, so there's some miscues, miscommunication, bad throws. I don't know, but there's some stuff there. Hopefully they can work out. But like I said in the beginning, I do like the fact that they methodically move the ball down the field. Here's what I will say. Did you notice Cam Robinson was in that game for 3 quarters?
I think that's just because, well, he sucked the last game, and so they want to make sure he gets work in because he's going to be out for 4 weeks, so you're not worried about a hamstring or that sort of thing. So just let him get his work in. I think that's all that was. Yeah, it does make you wonder a little bit. They definitely have a decision to make when Cam
He
comes
comes back. And you know what? I'm not sure he's getting his starting spot back.
He wouldn't if I was coach.
Yeah, because he's played like shit. Like I said, like I said in the last podcast, he plays like a short-time employee, like a short-term. You know, you're retiring in 2 weeks, and you don't care. And that's what he's playing like. And if that's what you're going to play like, don't even get on the field.
I would have liked to see him out at guard. There was talk that they were going to do that. I don't know if they actually did have him practice, but I definitely didn't see it in a preseason game.
I didn't see. I mean, he had one good run block, and then he had some other stuff that I was scratching my head. Like, how did you not see that guy there? But
yeah,
again, to me, the fact that he was in there so long playing with the threes,
yeah,
tells me that maybe his time is done and they know it. I don't know if that was a punishment per se for bad play, but it definitely wasn't like a, hey, you're doing good.
Yeah.
So,
well, he didn't mess up on that play, even though it was on his side where Trevor got hit throwing that ball to Ridley. He took the right guy. You got to take the more inside guy, and I think part of it is too. My thought is when complaining he should have thrown the flat route was because that's the hot route probably in that situation in a blitz. But in fairness, and this is to Cam's thing too, to back Cam a little bit on that play, that linebacker did a really good job of disguising it. He came from all the way on the other side as the guy in motion. I think it was Agnew was coming across, and that's the flat guy. So he follows Agnew. So it's okay. We've got man coverage. So you got a guy following Agnew. Then he just blitz. So he went from this side and then blitz. So I guess he was going to come from the other side anyway. But that made Agnew the hot route. It caught Cam off guard because I think he was fixing to take the in, and so he takes the blitzing linebacker instead. And I think maybe what happened was Trevor just got caught thinking, initially when he saw that, he's like, oh, I've got that shot. He wasn't thinking, he didn't click over to hot route because he saw the guy with Agnew. So I'm thinking, I don't know. It's interesting to play and to see how that played out, but it is nice to see the expert skill being shown for Trevor to be able to stand in there and get that ball to that point. I mean, when he released it, I mean, like Ridley, he's only a quarter of the way through the route, like the depth of the route, and for Ridley to be able to catch it in bounds, it was nice to see that. So, but I guess, yeah. So, I mean, I think anything else you want to talk about on the Dolphin game?
No, I thought our special teams improved from the Detroit game to the Miami game. So I thought that was well. Other than that, I didn't see a whole lot. I've already complained enough about what I wanted to complain about. Yeah. But it's the preseason, right? None of it matters, really.
Right.
That's what they tell us. Mm-hmm. Well, today was cut down day, 4:00 p.m.
Yeah.
Frank, any surprises?
Yeah, a few of them. I kind of expected them to keep Jordan Smith. I'll go through the cuts real quick.
Go through the cuts.
So Kevin Austin Jr., Samuel Jackson. Well, let me put the position. So wide receiver Kevin Austin, offensive line Samuel Jackson, fullback / tight end Derek Parrish, outside linebacker Jordan Smith, running back Kadre Olison, QB Nathan Rourke, wide receiver Jacob Harris, tight end Garrett Prince, wide receiver Jeray Jenkins, kicker James McCourt, long snapper Tucker Addington, safety Latavius Brini, outside linebacker DJ Coleman, running back Snoop Connor, outside line Coy Cronk, defensive line Deshaun Dixon, Eric Hollett and Caleb Hayes are both QBs. DeQuan Jackson, linebacker. Wide receiver Oliver Martin. Safety Ayo Ayola. A tight end Josh Peterson, the coach's son. Wide receiver Kedrick Pryor. Outside linebacker Willie Taylor III. Defensive line Raymond Vohasek. Outside line Darrell Williams. Wide receiver Seth Williams. QB Devad Wilson. Outside linebacker outside lineman Chandler Brewer, QB Tavon Campbell, defensive line Michael Dogbe, offensive line Bobby Evans, and also Blake Hance.
All right, and you got to assume that some of these guys they're bringing back for the practice squad, right?
I think they're going to bring a bunch back, and I think also even some of the guys that made the team are going to be put on, because they brought Cooper Hodges in as one of the linemen, offensive linemen, and I know that he was playing great, so that's not surprising, but he's hurt. And the way they were talking, he's going on, but we talked about this before, so that tells me they're going to put him on injured reserve designated to return, because otherwise they'd have just put him on injured reserve for the whole year. So I think there's some guys on the roster who are going to be not on the roster technically. So you're going to see some guys that maybe can get on the actual active roster that maybe are part of the cut list I just read off, at least until some of the other guys come back. Surprises. Garrett Prince was a surprise to me.
Me too.
Yeah.
Although with the way that the tight end room is,
Yeah, once you digest it, you're like, yeah, okay, because they kept Elijah Cooks. And you go, yeah, he's kind of like a tight end. I mean, he's the same height as Garrett Prince, as I understand it. He's like 15 pounds lighter, and Garrett Prince is the move tight end. So I'm like, well, Cooks is probably a hell of a lot faster than Garrett Prince, played better in the preseason. And they probably thought, well, we could bring Garrett back on the practice squad, and we're more likely to be able to do that. Whereas if we let Elijah go, he's gone. Like, another team's gonna get him, because there's teams out there that are receiver needy. So I would look for Seth Williams, Jacob Harris. They're gonna be good. I think they'll find some teams to land on. I told you guys before the Lions seemed like they're interested because they're needy. I would think the Panthers would be a team that would be needy. There's some other teams probably out there but those are two off the top of my head that I know they don't have the same luxuries that we have. We've got all of a sudden, like, we're always thirsty for wide receivers, and now this year we've got tons of them, so it's kind of a weird deal.
Yeah, like, looking it over, I don't see anything. Like, we discussed Snoop Connor. I'm not sure how he made the team. Yeah. Garrett Prince was a surprise to me. But again, when you look at the tight end room and where they wanted to allocate that additional spot, it makes sense. Raymond Volsak.
Yeah, he's the next one, right?
Bring that guy back. Vohasek.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Especially with the Devon Hamilton thing, which is still a weird. They have not cleared that up.
They have not, but they did say Doug Peterson had a press conference today, said he's back in the building
with his wife.
Yeah, I don't
like they're telling you something without telling you something.
I guess.
Now Devon's on the 53-man roster. He didn't go on injured reserve. I don't know what this means. Like, I was listening to Lageman when he was on Mike Dempsey's show. Lageman knows what it is, but he can't say. and I couldn't get a vibe on what it is. I don't get it. Like there's something weird about it. And I get the feeling it's one of those things that if he comes back in a couple weeks, we'll never know what it was. Never. Either that or we're going to get some news like he's retired. I think it's in between these two weird extremes at this point. So, yeah, but Raymond Vahasik, I thought, yeah, that guy's going to make it now because of Devon Hamilton's situation. And if you look, the defensive line, I don't know. Let's see. You got Devon Hamilton, Fadukasi, so two injured dudes. Adam Gotsis, who's we like him, but he's not exactly stout at the point.
Right, he's a try-hard guy.
Yeah, he's a three technique shade guy. Tyler Lacey, who you would hope would have come in and been stout and been a nice defensive end.
I was not impressed with him.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he didn't flash at all.
Right.
And he's hurt too now. So you got three. So 3 out of 4 I just named are hurt. You got Ledbetter, of course. God bless Ledbetter for being on a team about right now, and then Roy Robertson Harris. So that's our defensive lineman. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange situation in that they didn't keep Vahasik.
Yeah, I liked him anyway. I hope we can bring him back and see what he's got maybe next year, maybe a year under his belt, and he'll make the team.
He may be one of the guys that they end up bringing back once they put somebody else on injury reserve.
So Jordan Smith.
Yeah.
You seem to be a little bit shocked by that. Why?
Well, because it's a position of need for us.
Yeah, but he lost his position to Absir Abdullah. Yasir Abdullah.
Yeah, I guess. And Caleb. So, I mean, do you think Caleb beat Jordan Smith? Like, I'm not going to say
that's
Jordan
like picking
Smith
between
outperformed Caleb because they were both. But yeah, you know what? Actually, I will say that. Jordan Smith outperformed Caleb.
That's like picking between the Republicans and the Democrats. They're both snakes in the grass. They ain't for you, right? So it's like the lesser of two evils. Now, why did you take Caleb on? Probably because of special teams, and probably because he's been in your system longer.
They like
Jordan
Caleb
Smith. Jordan Smith was hurt. He's your typical 6'6" stand-up defensive end, but he hasn't really done anything to his build. Now, Caleb definitely hasn't either.
Yeah.
Right? But you got experience over injury. Like, if I looked at just their career, and I didn't see who was better, Jordan Smith's always hurt, has been hurt.
Yeah, that's fair.
Caleb's been available. May not be good, but he's available.
Yeah. And like I said, I thought Caleb he is the defensive end. You did this one of our last shows, and now I'm spacing out. Taven Bryant. Couldn't pull his name. I guess we just want to forget about him. So he's the defensive end version of Taven Bryant to me.
Agreed.
He's a guy that sort of should be good, like has the tools, but whenever he is in the backfield, he's not in the right spot, doesn't make the tackle. You see flashes, but they don't actually produce. So they're these flashes because you're looking for them. I wouldn't be shocked if Caleb had an okay season. He's going to get an opportunity this year to he should have plenty of opportunities. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be surprised. I'm somewhere between there on him because I do see the talent, but yeah, be nice to have make that work. And again, I don't know what the end goal is though. If you're thinking long term, because let's say he puts up a 7-sack season, somehow he gets sacks and I mean, what does that mean for us? It means he's going to get a contract with somebody else because he's not.
Good.
I can't imagine he's going to re-sign here. But then again, I don't know. They like him. I don't know. So
they like Taven Bryan too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's an interesting situation with
Yeah,
that.
I mean, at this point, I honestly I don't believe anything they had to say.
And I will say this: in Jordan Smith, there's two ways to look at it. So Jadeveon Clowney they kicked the tires on Jadeveon Clowney, and I would say the reason why you don't sign somebody like Clowney, apart from the negative stuff that you heard about his locker room presence, is he's similar to what we already have, which is he's not a effective pass rusher. He's just good all the way around in all the other things. And if Jordan Smith was going to turn into something good, that's what he projected to be.
Yeah.
Was what we already have and what we don't need right now. So, but then again, they kicked the tires on Clowney. So if we don't need it, why are they kicking the tires on Clowney? So that was my thinking. Like, this guy fits that role of the backup to what we already have. And hopefully Abdullah and Chason can fill the quick twitch role. But, yeah, so Abdullah, and here's the thing too, I think the count is that 10 out of the 12 rookies that were brought in, they kept. Which, was it 12 or 13? Why do I think it was 13? I don't know.
It doesn't matter anyway. All right, so Eric Howlett, that was a little bit of a surprise. I thought he did well in training camp. I
know
he made
people said
some
that,
plays.
but it was always a numbers game for me, and he was always the guy out for me.
Okay, well, hopefully they'll bring him back on the practice squad.
It was close, though. He played really well.
Yeah.
Howlett was an interesting guy. On the field, he looks like a squatty guy for a corner to me. He almost looks more like safety. I don't know. He just didn't look like the prototypical corner for me, so maybe I'm a little biased in that way. He didn't look quick, but he was there. I mean, he did stuff, and so yeah, maybe we bring him back, or maybe he finds another team.
Yeah,
He
but
played
other
good
than
enough
that,
either way.
I don't have any shockers. I don't have anybody that jumps out. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I went through some of the NFL cuts. I didn't see anybody that really stood out to me as an, oh my God, this guy got cut.
Yeah.
So,
And see, they got Blake Hance on the cut list. And so that guy there is going to come back, I think. And that's probably what we're going to see is Cooper Hodges gets put on injured reserve and they bring Blake Hance back. Because they had Blake Hance listed in the depth chart as the starting guard.
yeah.
So, and he didn't do anything to lose that position. So I think they probably took him aside and said, hey, we're going to, they probably prepped him, maybe a week in advance or so. Hey, this is what we're thinking. We'll let you know if that's the way we go. And they probably said, hey, we're going to cut you, but we're going to put so-and-so on injured reserve. And as soon as we do that, we'll bring you back once you clear waivers. So
Yeah.
It might be a couple other guys they do that with. So
That makes sense. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we got for you from Dude.
What do you mean? I got so much more.
No, you don't.
You're right.
Come on, give it to me. Told you so. Well, thank you for joining us. Hit the like, subscribe if you like what you hear. If not, don't worry about it. Leave a comment. We do try to chat whenever we get a comment here or there. So
I do. I don't know about you.
well, I do.
Do you?
Yeah. I check.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Bye guys.